is minimalist training? So I guess minimalist training is defined by your workout system or workout routine, whatever you want to call it, that has a very low exercise selection. So maybe the most typical thing is going to be squat, bench, deadlift, rows, the typical exercises that everyone starts off with, which is extremely specific to building strength, or if you're a power lifter, to become better at the power lifts. And there's little accessory work, sometimes none, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. It could be a good thing because it keeps you very focused, but it could be a bad thing. There's only so much squat, bench, and deadlift or minimalist exercise training you can do until weaknesses occur, and then you have to then address those weaknesses. Now, minimalist training is not the same thing as simple training. Simple training would be you come in, maybe do some jumps or something explosive. It's very typical to what I'm doing right now. You have your strength work, you have your hypertrophy work, and then maybe you do your conditioning. Now, simple training would be you don't need to worry about the minuscule little details. As long as you are training those aspects hard with effort, you're going to improve. Minimalist training is, you don't need to do any leg press or glute ham raises or hamstring and calf after your squats. Squats take care of everything. That's not really an attitude I like, because the people that can get away with that most likely have good genetics, have been training for a long time, understand what works for them, and that's why it works for them. But the exercises, the minimal exercise selection that they do in their workouts is of high effort. So if you're a beginner and you're just going to do some 5 easy sets of squats, and when I mean easy, I mean like they're all RPE 7, and you just think squats are a magical exercise, and you're going to move on from that. It doesn't work that way. If you are doing minimalist style training, all your sets have to be hard. Every single set has to be difficult. The less sets you do, in my opinion, the harder they have to be. Actually, I don't even think that's my opinion. I would say that's fact at this point. And why would you not want all your sets to be as hard as they can possibly be, where the effort is high? That is not sustainable for every single workout, 365 days a year. It's just not sustainable. But you can make it sustainable by adjusting volume, adjusting frequency, making sure you're eating enough, sleeping enough, resting enough, you're doing mobility work, you're stretching, you're keeping your body loose, and all this stuff. Then it can be very effective. But when I see people preach minimalist training and they're giving minimal effort, that's the worst of both worlds, in my honest opinion. So what happens is you'll see like a genetic freak maybe pop up. And you're going to see a guy who has like massive arms from just doing bench press, barbell rows, pull-ups, overhead press. And then you're going to see a guy that deadlifts 750 pounds before he's even 20 years old, and which is becoming common. And then these people exist, and that's kind of a problem for the people who cannot follow things like that, because you have to keep in mind, things you see on the internet are a very small percentage of what is actually true. So YouTube fitness, Instagram, TikTok, that's a very, very small percentage of what the overall working out is to be. Think of watching a basketball game. You're watching the NBA. Is that how every single basketball game is? No. Those are the best of the best. So that is why the product looks a certain way. You prop an average Joe, maybe played high school basketball in there, he'll look like a joke. That's how it is with YouTube fitness. If you just get an average gym guy and put him next to like Larry Wheels, it's going to look like no comparison. But then people look at these people who train in, let's say, a minimalist way and only do these things, and they think, oh, that's how this person does it. I am now going to do that and get the exact same results as them. And that it just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry if I just burst your bubble, but it doesn't work that way. So most of the time, training that way is actually going to cause you to regress and not make optimal muscle or strength gains, and then your chances of injury is going to be higher. Why? Because you might have some weaknesses that need to be addressed that simply can't get hit by squat, bench, deadlift, barbell rows. And I'm not against these exercises. If you've been following my channel for a long time, you know I am very pro these exercises. But they are not the be-all and end-all. You should not be emulating anyone, really, unless they have the same training schedule as you, they've been training for the same amount of time as you, their skeletal structure is very similar. Everyone needs to find out what works for them. Sure, could you probably grow your arm size with just bench and just rows and just pull-ups and all those classical exercises? Yeah, probably. But will it be the best possible training program you could come up with for yourself? Probably not. Now, let's flip to the other side. Some people do too much assistance to the point where they'll half-ass their compounds, their main muscle builders and strength builders, and then prioritize tricep extensions, barbell, not even barbell curls, hammer curls, dumbbell curls, preacher curls, and think that's the secret to giving themselves bigger arms or bigger muscle group, whatever you want to insert there. That is not the secret. The secret has always been get as strong as possible on the basics for as long as you can, while doing other exercises to support the basics. So if your idea of a workout is squat, bench, and barbell rows, and you think that's going to take care of your whole body by doing nothing but those, try it. You're probably not going to like the results because after a while, you're going to have to switch. When you do workouts like that, it's very beneficial just for introducing beginners to the big barbell lifts. So many people talk about starting strength for people that are literally, no pun intended, starting on their strength training journey. I have never once performed a starting strength workout. I think there's other ways beginners can go about things while also hitting like different movement patterns and things like that, and not just be so rigid and pigeonhole himself into squat, bench, and deadlift. Because I find when your whole workout routine revolves around squatting, benching, and deadlifting, all of a sudden you become a wannabe powerlifter and you start programming things exactly like powerlifters. And not to say that's a bad thing if that's your goal, but if it's not, then you shouldn't be training exactly like powerlifters. There's no such thing as a training program being minimal. You should try and do what's optimal. And I understand this is a whole separate topic, but I understand that gets thrown around as well too much. So you want to do the least amount of work you can do while getting gains. So if you can get gains with 2 sets, if you can get 90% of your gains with 2 sets, why would you do 3? It'll be easier to recover from 2. If you can just do 2 leg exercises for your quads and still get 90% of your growth and strength, why would you do another quad exercise? Move on to hamstrings, move on to glutes, move on to posterior chain. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But then people think, oh, I'm just going to bash my muscle into the pavement and get more gains than if I would only do half the amount of exercises. That approach is wrong too. So don't look at someone on the internet and see what they're doing and think that's the magic pill. You can try to copy their system, but just understand if you like their finished product, you might be disappointed when you try that for yourself because you are looking at where they are training right here and now, not what got them to the dance and what brought them to the dance. You're looking about how they are right now, even though they might have been training for 20 years, they might have been using, let's be honest, a different cycle than you, they might have just a whole bunch of factors. So the answer is not minimal assistance versus assistance overboard. The answer is somewhere always in the middle, like many things in life. So I know I kind of said this calm, I kind of had like a podcast voice going on, but this was kind of, I don't even want to say rant because it's not something I'm super angry about. But what is your style of training? Do you like a lot of assistance? Do you not like a lot of assistance? Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.